Car cleaning.
Car cleaning in the desperate times,
Corona times.
Corona times. Now we're gonna clean this up because we need to carve here and make the M4 lights fit.
Yeah, because the holes for the taillights and headlights are a tad bit too small.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna clean it up a little bit, and then on today's vlog we're gonna talk about parts. What kind of parts we use as turbos, engine control, and stuff like that. So we're gonna clean up the desk, clean the car, and then we're gonna talk about parts.
Sounds
So
good.
If you, I have some questions. Like.
Oh, you have gotten
Yeah.
questions?
From Instagram.
Perfect.
So we're gonna try to answer those as well.
Here we go.
Here we go. Boom.
Boom. Okay.
All right. Tech talk.
Tech talk.
Let's start. We had a question on Instagram asking about the ECU and the sensors. It was actually two questions, but it's the same discussion area. For the ECU, we're gonna run Motec system exhaust,
Of course.
of course, and we've been running it for a couple of years now. 3, I think, since then 3.
Yeah.
We tried different other brands. Most of them work, I would say. I don't want to put any dark shadow on anyone because I think there are many good ECUs out there. But this is the system that we found working the best for what we aim to use it for. So for the main unit, we run the M150, and I would say it's in the range where they have different ECUs. I would say it's like in the middle, because they have one M130, it has some less pinouts, and then they have M170 and M190, and some of them are mil-spec or autosport connectors. These are still the standard amp connectors. Looks like this. Standard connector, really easy to use. You have on the top here, you have a locking mechanism, so you pop it up and then you can take the pins out if you need. So it's really good when you're at events, because if you need, remove something or check it, then you just pop it out, pop it in, lock it, and it's good. So it's easy, and the autosport connectors cost like half a fortune. So
$1 gazillion.
Gazillion dollars. So it's gonna be the M150 with the GPR package. For you guys that are not familiar with the Motec setup, so you just buy the ECU, and then you choose what kind of package you want for that. And there are a lot of M1 developers, like licensed partners to Motec, that make their own packages. So you can buy the packages that Motec provides, or you buy a package from a M1 developer. And that package can be altered in many ways, and it can be enhanced in different areas and whatnot. So it can be quite advanced. But for this, we use the package from Motec called GPRP, and that's basically a racing package with paddle shift function. So And for the paddle shift is for the gearbox, of course. So we're gonna have the paddles on the wheel, and then the ECU handles all the requests and all the actuating of the actuators, if you say it that way. I'm not sure.
Controlling of the actuator.
Controlling of the actuators, yeah. So, but in the middle you have a compressor and the actuator, and that's directly controlled by the Motec. So it's a closed loop system that works really, really good. So yeah, for me it's a no-brainer that we should run the Motec stuff. And with Motec, it's a little bit like, you know, when you buy an Apple phone. When you buy it, you want to have the AirPods because it works so good between the two products. So that's what we're gonna do with the Motec. So we're gonna have the ECU M150.
Yeah, and we can check those out.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
this is the ECU we're gonna have, the main heart of it. For that, we're gonna have a PDM30, and this is a power distribution module. So basically all the fuses that you need are in here.
Okay.
Yeah, so you just wire it out to a pump or a fan or whatever, and this controls it. So you put a big fat 12 volts feed on it, and then it distributes the power to all the units that you use.
So it's like software fuses.
Yeah, exactly. And you can set the reset on them. So if you want you know, if you say that you blow on a fuse on a pump for some reason and you still want to get back to pits, then you can say, hey, try to restart the fuse a couple of times. If it doesn't,
if it still blows the fuse.
If it still blows the fuse, then cut the engine. You know, you have good things you can program between. You know, so it actually you have a quite good safety system. With
Yeah, you can try and do that on a standard fuse and see how that works.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I've seen that there are some fuses now, like, you know, old school fuses that you can reboot and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, this is still seamlessly the best thing. So for example, you can have a function, say, if you spin out on track and you get an engine stop, you can have a program function in the PDM to say that if you push the clutch and full throttle within 10 seconds, you will fire up the engine again.
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to fiddle around with all
Start
the buttons
and whatnot.
You just clutch, full throttle, start it up, downshift, and then you go again. So I mean, for that, it's in my opinion, yeah, it's quite expensive products, but you know, for the headaches it gives you with other stuff, cheaper stuff, it's worth it in the end. So for that, we're gonna have a PDM30. This is a 30 output unit. This is gonna handle all the engine stuff, all the, you know, the dash, the CAN buses, all of those stuff. Sorry, not the CAN buses, the lambdas. And that's gonna be it. And in the back, then we're gonna have a PDM15.
So that's gonna be in the back of the car.
Yeah, that's gonna be in the back of the car. So this is gonna handle the fuel pump, the diff pump for the gearbox, for the headlights in the back, everything that's in the back. And for that, we're gonna use the connections between these two is gonna be just a CAN bus.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you don't have to have anything more. You put the 12 volt feed on here in the back. And then you have all the outputs you can have. And all the programming you do is done by it's called a UTC. It's a USB to CAN interface thing. And that thing you can have whatever you want it. You can have it in the back, you can have it in front. But either way, as soon as you connect these things on the CAN bus, then you can program the rear PDM or the front PDM or, you know, whatever you need to do. So. I mean, it works really good. So, and for the logging and for the driver interface, we're gonna use a 7-inch Motec dash, and they have different versions of this as well. They have a 5-inch. I have a 5-inch. I can show you. Hold on.
Cue elevator music.
Oh, you did the cue music. Nice. So yeah, so here is a 5-inch. It's a bit smaller, as you can see.
It's a bit smaller, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite smaller.
Cool.
So this is a 5-inch. This is a 7-inch. As you can see, there's not a big difference between them. You have these LEDs on the side. And those in the top are I would say they are the quite same size. I think this one is a little bit older than this one.
Okay.
And this is also not the newest one.
So there's a new version.
There's a newer version that I think, in my opinion, has a USB interface in the back.
Okay.
So you can plug in a memory card for. I mean, these have like, I don't know, do they have 250 megs of logging? I think, or 125. I don't. We will correct it in the text, but I think, and you can upgrade it as well. But I think it has 250 megs, and that's like, you know, what we've seen. It's like, you know, you don't need more. On this one, we're gonna run a level 2 package for logging. So you have different licenses for different logging packages. So you can buy it basically bone stock and still use it as a dash. You don't have to have the GPS to it. You don't have to have the logging. You don't have to have anything. But when you down the road find out that, hey, I want to have the logging, then you just contact Motec, say, hey, I want to log it. You get a license key and then you unlock it. So you can buy it pretty cheap, and then you can end up adding a lot of functions to it. You don't have to exchange it to a new product. So they have these two. They are C127 and C125. Those are like standard products with the amp connector. Then they have the C185 and 187. And those are mil-spec connectors, and they have more logging memory. So I think they have like 500 megs of logging. And I think also they have the possibilities for some more advanced functions as well. But for what we're gonna use it, this is, you know, this is enough. So yeah, so that's gonna be the dash. Not this one, this is for a customer car. And then to control it all, we're gonna use the Motec keypad. And this one is it's a standard 15 key keypad. And this one has 4 connectors in the back. It's super easy. So you plug it with 12 volts, ground, and CAN bus high and low. And then you just plug it, program it with the PDM, the power distribution module. And then the cool thing with these are that it's not just one button. If you push it 2 seconds, it can do different things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you can distinguish a short press from a long press.
And also you can have what we've been doing, example, for, say for the fan here, that when I push it and force the fan on, we can have a green light. But when the ECU puts the fan on and say, hey, I need to cool the engine, then we can turn on the red light. And then we know that, okay, now it's forced by the ECU, not by me. So there are, you know, there are a lot of things that you can do. And also for the side indicators, I mean, this is what I learned afterwards, but in the end, you wouldn't have to have the hazard button.
You can just press those.
You can press these. I mean, what I programmed lately is that when you push the left and right, if you push the right within a second of the left, then they match up the outputs and you get the hazard function.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it's really nice to program these things. And you can have all boost levels here, you can have everything. And all of this, everything that you change here, you can present it nicely in the dash. So I like the ecosystem of the Motec. So you know, they say that once you go Motec, you never go back. I mean, it's
for you, it's true.
It's for me, it's true. I think for many people, it's true.
Oh.
So
should we move to the other desk?
yeah, we should move to the desk. The gearbox. We have talked about the gearbox.
I think we have, yeah.
Yeah, but you can show it here. I mean, we can talk about it a little bit. It's an Albin's SD6 gearbox. I think it's the similar one that they used on the V8 supercars. It has a differential, the 6-speed sequential gearbox, and a clutch housing. So as you see here, we have our ZF Motorsport clutch, 5-inch, with a flywheel and the release bearing inside here. So I mean, everything is snug together. So it's I think it's completely like 90 kilos or something like that. So the Albin's gearbox, I have really high hopes for this one. So it's going to be fun to try it out. All right, so we're moving along. As many of you guys know, for the engine here, we have been partnering up with ESS Tuning, the supercharged company from Norway. And we had for the last couple of years, we had a supercharger on it, and it really worked really good. You know, with the latest supercharger we got from them, it was spot on. I mean, it worked nicely. But I was a little bit, I want to be able, because we're gonna go for quite high figures in the power. So I want to be able to, to tune it and to be able to run on low boost and low power outputs when needed, not always to run full. On the supercharger, we were able to do that, but we had to change the pulleys. We could not never do it in the middle of a race to push the pass or whatever we needed to do. So for that, we partnered up with Turbo Total in Germany and Garrett. And they have delivered what, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. So this is the new, this is the new series from them. It's called G30 770, and they are small, but they do hold a punch. So I think with these small puppies, we will run 2 of them with custom manifolds, and we aim to push, I think with 2 of these, to aim to push around 1100 max. And I mean, they are not heavy. They are really small, and I think they are quite re-engineered with the compressor wheel and stuff like that. So I think these are going to be really nice. So we have 2 of them. And Kalle, do you see anything different about them?
Yes, we do.
What do you see?
They're turned around.
Yeah, they're reversed.
One for the left and one for the right side.
How cool isn't that?
That's super cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have one on the left, and then we're gonna have one on the right, or I don't know which one is left and right. It doesn't matter, but yeah. So
that makes everything so much easier, and it's gonna be a lot better.
yeah, it does. So that's gonna be super nice. And we have for these we have the full V-band connection on the exhaust housing. So that's gonna be really neat. Robin from Yimo, old friend of ours, super good in doing manifolds. So he's gonna start with the manifolds in, I don't think this weekend, but next weekend. We're still waiting for the billet collectors from Elmer Racing. So as soon as we have those, then we will proceed on doing the manifolds. So, and with all this boost, you have to have some way to control it.
Yes.
So for that, we partnered up with a company called Turbo Smart, and there's a lot of turbo names. Turbo Total,
Turbo this,
Smart,
turbo that.
Turbo that. We partnered up with Turbo Smart, and we're gonna be running their products fully on. So they're gonna be dual wastegates. So this is the ProGate 50. I don't want to say too much, but we might change these. I don't think you don't even know about this, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do. Okay, so we might change these. They're gonna look similar, but they're gonna have some wires out of them. Doesn't have to say so.
But it's still a Turbo Smart product.
Yeah. Of course, it's Turbo Smart. That's what.
It's the latest piece
So,
of equipment.
Exactly. So that's gonna be nice. We have 2 of these, and for all of these, we have the cap with the sensor. It's the same as here. This is their blow-off valve with a sensor cap.
And what can you read out from that one?
Maybe you should ask, are we doing it? But I like log data. So
yes, you do.
with the sensor cap, we can actually see the positioning of the valve, and both on the wastegate and the blow-off valve. So we can see if the 2 sides doesn't line up with each other. So we'll be able to see that. So we're gonna measure the actuation of the valve in here, in the both wastegate valves, also in the blow-off valve, and also for the turbos from Garrett, we're gonna run a speed sensor on them, on both of them. So we'll be able to see if some of the turbos are working harder than the other.
And then we can start looking into why that is.
Exactly. And also you can run some safety parameters for that. If you have the left side works harder than the other, then okay, say how long can you run with this before you get some issues? So it's kind of good to get that data, and you can, you don't run a full season and then you have bigger things to worry about.
Information.
Yeah, exactly. Is it the IoT?
Internet of Things.
So yeah, it's not. No, it's just things. Yeah. So for that, move along. We didn't pick up all the stuff here because then the table is gonna be full. For the brake setup, I mean, I think many of you already figured out what we're gonna run, and it's been a striking theme in all the builds, like for the last 5 years. We tried different brands before. Do you know how that ended up?
Badly.
Yeah, then that ended up on the roof.
That's not a good sign
No.
when you're talking about brakes.
No. So after that, we said, hey, no, we should do proper stuff.
Stick with the best.
Yeah. So we have had the partnership with Endless for many years now, and we're still keeping on with them. So we're gonna run their 6 piston monoblock in the front and 4 piston monoblock in the back. So they are, one piece, really nice things, and they aren't even heavy. Some of the renderings I've been showing showed that the disc was a carbon fiber, and that's not an option right now. We're gonna run steel disc, but really nice calipers around. The discs, this is actually not the disc we're gonna run. I don't know what the other one is. Doesn't matter. We're gonna run their E-slit disc. So it's gonna be a 380 in the front and 350, 360 in the back, I think, or something like that. Or 370 in the back, maybe.
Big ones.
Big ones.
That's a light one.
Yeah, this is super light. This is the first thing I 3D printed when I started with the thing. I ended up with some help from Dynotech to finalize the design. And then I said, hey, I want to print this to see how it looks. So I 3D printed it, played around with it, say, hey, it looks good. Let's go ahead and make the aluminium one, because these are the 75 aluminium, like high grade aluminium. So you don't want to fuck up on that one. So when we did that, we ended up going to Suvi Performance, and he made 4 of these. Conrit in Sweden made also the center hubs, or this, the center lock assembly here. So and these are fully custom made. So some of them, the front ones, gonna have a locking ring here that basically just tucks the bearing together. So there's gonna be a bolt through with a ring here with a threaded thing in there. And then we just, compress it and tack it together. In the back, there's gonna be some splines for the drive shaft, and that's gonna be it. So I mean, it's not super heavy. It could be lighter, but I would rather have it a little bit heavier and not crash than
Yeah, because you don't want that thing to break.
No. And many people asked why we run the lower uniball in the position as we do. As you see here, the top one sits like this, and that's normally how you do it. But the bottom one is turned 90 degrees, and this is just because of the aero loads that we're going to generate with this car. The downside is that you don't get the massive turning radius that you need.
Oh yeah.
I think we're gonna do a special distance things here, and maybe we can get it up to 20 degrees. But I mean, if you compare it to a drifting car, they have what, 75 or something like that degrees. So, but this is not a drifting car, so we don't need that. But basically that's the idea behind it, just to cope with the air loads. Because I think if the uniball would be lying down, it wouldn't handle that good. So that's that. Fuel-wise, again, overdoing it. I think with this one we are overdoing it a little bit, but I had this idea since many years back because I like it. So we're gonna have all of the fuel cell and everything with the piping, the refill piping and stuff like that is gonna be enclosed, and this is gonna sit in the bodywork. So when we're gonna refuel, we're gonna use this with a big jug on it, and then we just connect it and refuel. So and you refuel like 30 liters within a second. So I think it's gonna be good because before we used these small hand pumps, and you always overfill it, it's dripping everywhere, and
it's a
stuff like
mess.
that. Here we're gonna just have a big 200 liters barrel with an electric pump. You fill the jug, then boom, you fill it and you go. So I think that's gonna be like the best thing ever.
And also, it looks really cool.
Yeah, it does. It does. For the battery, we're gonna use a super lightweight carbon battery. It's really nice. We had this on the M3, so we're basically moving it over. And it's. I mean, I think it weighs like kilo and a half or something like that. So I think that's gonna be really nice to use. So that one, I'm happy with that one. Pedal box. This is what we have right now. I don't know if we will use it, but I think so because we might end up fitting it in there. But it's a good pedal box with a quite known brand. So
A quite known brand.
yeah, so I think that's gonna be good as well.
Cool. Was there any more questions that people wanted to have some answers to?
There were. Let's see, we had ECU question. Chassis and engine. Engine is the M3 V8 stroke from PPM in Australia, 4.5 stroker with twin turbos. Nothing more to say about that. A bit electronics, we talked about that. We're also gonna have, I think we're gonna dive deeper in the electronics.
Yeah, because that's gonna be a big chapter with all the sensors and everything. So
exactly, that's gonna be like a full episode. But also good to know that we're gonna you're gonna use some laser ride height sensors. We're gonna use some sensors for tire temperature. So it's gonna be quite a sophisticated system. Suspension, setup and brakes. Brakes we talked about. Suspension, we are getting a custom setup from KW in Germany, and they are supplying six individual suspensions or dampers. So it's going to be 3 in the front, 3 in the back, and all of them are custom made. 3-way competition suspension, really, really nice. I got the email from them today, and they are saying that it should be maybe shipped within 2 weeks.
cool.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Suspension geometry. We're gonna have suspension. I don't think we're ever gonna be able to talk about the details and the numbers and stuff like that because it's a little bit special.
It's a bit of a trade secret.
Yeah, it is. I think we're gonna keep it that way. If you ever see the car on track, you can look. I'm not gonna stop you, but other than that, it's not gonna be detailed much in the vlogs. Sorry. ECU wiring sensors again. Let's see, what do we have more? The center log hub and upright assembly. I mean, yeah, we talked about it. The center lock and the uprights, everything is custom made. So those are, yeah, we showed those already. There's a guy that asked if we're gonna have a fat, subwoofer in the car. No, it's not gonna be a subwoofer. Let's see, what do we have more? What the goals are with the car. I mean, I think it's quite obvious. We do have some goals to break some track records, and we are, I wouldn't say it's written in stone yet, but I think that we do have some goals to maybe do Pikes Peak in the US and other stuff. So we will see. We need to get the car done first before we start speculating about events. Also I got a question about what events we should run. And the events, I mean, we're gonna run Norwegian Gatabil Extreme, the time attack in Sweden, and then also some events in Europe. I think the hill climb scene in Europe, like in Switzerland, in Germany, and Italy, that's gonna be something we will do for sure.
Yeah.
And I think we even gonna end up trying to park the car in Europe for a season and then do all of the hill climbs. So I think that's gonna be cool. The diffuser, I think all of the aero stuff, we'll do it later on with Paul at Verus Engineering. And I think we'll do some sort of Skype thing with him and try to, you know, solve all the questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, that should be cool.
Yeah, maybe
Assemble, collect a lot of questions, and he will be able to answer them.
Yeah. And maybe we could even do a live YouTube thing, like Q&A.
Oh, wow. Why not?
Maybe. Yeah, so I mean that's about it. We are struggling with some parts because of the COVID-19 situation, and I know it affects everyone, even us. I don't know even if I'm gonna have a job within a couple of weeks. So I mean, we are still pushing on and trying to do the best. As for now, I don't even know if there's gonna be any car event this year. Maybe to end of the summer. But I mean that doesn't stop us. Of course, we did some resting when they canceled the big car show. I mean, we're still pushing on, trying to get stuff done. So next goal now is to get all the center assemblies correct and bolted and get it on the wheels. The diffuser and floor is left down at Elite Projects. So they're gonna complete the floor, and then when that is done, then we can actually start mounting all of the body panels and stuff like that.
So hopefully in a few weeks.
Hopefully in a few weeks.
Perfect.
If you have any questions, guys, drop them. Make sure to subscribe. Please share the video. If we can get like 2,000 views a video, I will be happy, because it's a lot of pain doing these videos, but I'm doing it for you guys. So if you can share it, like it, comment, please do that.
And stay safe in these troubled times.
Yeah, guys, stay safe. And I mean, the health is the most important thing. So stay safe. Peace out.